Marcus had survived 14 months of combat overseas, but nothing could have prepared him for what he found in his own backyard that Tuesday afternoon. His wife Sarah lying motionless in the grass, one arm stretched toward the shed like she'd been crawling for help. Before I tell you what happened next, drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from. I love connecting with you guys. The duffel bag hit the driveway. Marcus didn't remember dropping it. 1 second he was standing there with his keys, expecting Sarah to come running out. The next, his boots were tearing across the lawn, heart hammering in his chest. Sarah. He dropped beside her, hands shaking, as they pressed against her neck, searching for a pulse. They're faint, but there. Her chest rose and fell in shallow breaths, but her eyes stayed closed, skin pale under the afternoon sun. No blood, no injuries, just nothing. Marcus grabbed his phone. 911, my wife's unconscious. I just got home and found her in the backyard. She's breathing, but won't wake up. His voice stayed steady, pure training. Inside though, inside. He was screaming, ambulance is en route. Stay on the line. That's when the breeze shifted. A weird chemical smell hit him sharp, wrong, drifting from the garden shed 10 feet away. The door hung open, broken off one hinge. Sarah had mentioned that in their last video call, said she needed to fix it. He'd told her to wait. She hadn't waited. Marcus's eyes locked on that shed, then back to Sarah's outstretched arm. The pieces clicked together fast. Ma'am, I think there's chemical exposure. The shed door is open, and there's a strong smell, sir. Move away from that area immediately. Marcus was already sliding his arms under Sarah, lifting her away from the shed. She felt too light, too fragile. This woman had kept their whole life running for 14 months while he was gone, and now she was limp in his arms. He carried her to the front yard, laying her gently near the driveway. Mrs. Chen from next door appeared on her porch. Marcus, you're back. When did you? She stopped, smile dropping. What happened? Call 911. Tell them chemical exposure, possible hazmat. Mrs. Chen disappeared inside. Across the street, Mr. Rodriguez stepped out. The college kids from the Blue House came out too. Word spreads fast. By the time the ambulance pulled up for minutes later, there was a small crowd gathering, neighbors whispering, watching the stranger in combat fatigues kneeling beside an unconscious woman. The paramedics moved fast, questions, vitals, oxygen, mask. One looked up at the shed. You said chemical smell? Yeah, strong. She must have gone in there, and Marcus couldn't finish. We're taking her to County General. Follow us, but don't go near that shed. They loaded Sarah into the ambulance. Those doors closed between them like a wall. Mrs. Chen touched his arm. Go, I'll wait for the fire department. Fire trucks showed up before he reached his car. 2 engines and a hazmat unit. The chief flagged him down. You the husband? Everyone needs to move back 100 feet. Marcus gave her everything: the shed, the smell, how he'd found Sarah. She nodded grimly and waved her team forward. Marcus jumped in his car and followed the ambulance, breaking every speed limit. What if he'd caught a later flight? What if he'd stopped for lunch? What if he'd been 30 minutes later? The hospital waiting room was standard, awful fluorescent lights, uncomfortable chairs, antiseptic smell. Marcus sat with his elbows on his knees, staring at floor tiles, still wearing dusty combat boots. His phone buzzed. Mrs. Chen. Hazmat found the problem. Old paint thinner leaked and mixed with fertilizer. Toxic fumes. Chief said another hour, and you got there just in time. Just in time. Marcus had almost missed his flight that morning. Almost stopped at that diner. Almost called ahead instead of surprising her. Any of those choices, and he would have been too late. Family of Sarah Mitchell. Marcus shot up. The nurse smiled a real smile. She's awake, asking for you. Doctor says she got lucky. Exposure wasn't long enough for serious damage. Overnight observation, but she's going to be fine. Relief hit Marcus like a physical force. Can I see her? Room 347, 3rd floor. Sarah was sitting up when he walked in, oxygen tube in her nose, hair a mess. Sheepish smile on her face. Hey, soldier. Hey yourself. Marcus took her hand, feeling the warmth, the steady pulse, real, Alive. Here, I'm sorry. I was getting the lawn mower. Wanted the yard perfect when you came home. You scared the hell out of me, Sarah. I scared myself. 1 minute I'm pulling the mower. Next thing I'm waking up here. She squeezed his hand. The nurse said if you'd been any later. But I wasn't. How'd you know to come home today? I thought you landed tomorrow. Caught an earlier flight. Didn't want to wait. Guess I had a feeling. Some feeling. Her eyes filled with tears. Marcus, I could've, but you didn't. You're here. That's what matters. The doctor came in with the full story. Sarah had inhaled toxic fumes from paint thinner and ammonia. In that hot shed, it knocked her out within minutes. No permanent damage, but she'd need rest. She was, everyone kept saying, incredibly lucky. But Marcus didn't think luck had much to do with it. As Sarah dozed, Marcus thought about all the tiny decisions that led here. The impulse to book an earlier flight, skipping the ceremony. The route home that put him in the driveway at 3:47 p.m. instead of 5 o'clock. Each choice, insignificant alone, became a link in a chain that saved her life. When visiting hours ended, Marcus drove home. Hazmat tape still fluttered around the shed. Neighbors had left notes, welcome home. Glad Sarah's okay. Mr. Rodriguez left beer. The college kids dropped off casserole. Marcus stood in the backyard where he'd found her, grass still flattened, where her body had been, and looked up at the sky, same stars he'd watched from the desert, wondering if she was looking too, wondering if he'd make it back. He had, just in time, because sometimes the universe bends in exactly the right direction, at exactly the right moment, and the person you love most gets to keep breathing. If this story hit you, or if you believe in perfect timing, leave a comment. And if you want more real stories about ordinary people and extraordinary moments, hit subscribe. I've got plenty more, and I'd love to have you along.